What is up, everybody, NC?
JC and
We are back with a Fix This on NWA. Now, we did do a special on NWA, I want to say last year, around the summertime, where we were talking about NWA. It wasn't quite a Fix This, but it was a What Went Wrong. So it was a new category that we brought out to you, What Went Wrong. And we just labeled all the stuff that just went wrong with NWA over the years. So much shit. So we got to go ahead and we got to talk to you about how we can fix NWA, because it can be done. We saw the last episode of NWA, it looked like dog shit. You had maybe, and I'm including the camera guys, the director, everybody in the building, even the janitor, 20 people in that building. It was awful. And Billy Corgan was one of those 20 people sitting there watching this. A fucking millionaire.
yeah,
Lead singer of one of the biggest rock bands of all time, working a fucking indie show that gets lower and smaller crowds than GCW, than MLW, than any other fucking indie that I could think of.
I know. There's
How?
no hype. Because there's no hype for it. It's a dead product, and like, we're not saying that to shit on NWA at all. Like, the point of this video is to help NWA. You know, I want nothing more than to be a cheerleader for NWA, be a big time fan of NWA, give them the whole hoorah, like do all that for them. So to do that, we got to fix this company. We got to give them some sound advice just from a fan perspective. And a lot of people say like, oh, well, you're not wrestling veterans. What would you know? Well, we're coming at it from the fan perspective. The person watching at it who's not been in the industry, but just watching at it from home. Like, what is it going to take to get us to not only watch the show, but to buy tickets, maybe even buy merchandise and support NWA and help grow NWA. So we're going to go ahead and go into some ideas for NWA and how to help them out.
Absolutely. And this is the thing, is NWA needs it more than any other company out there, more so than WWE or AEW. This is the company that really needs advice. And they need to really, take off the glasses, the cool glasses, where you're like, no, we don't have to listen to these fans. We're going to offer some sound advice that if you actually implement it, it will save your company. So, to start off, number one, they have to go back to the roots. And what we mean by that is when we first tuned into NWA Power, it had Dockin' Into the Fire, which is a great theme song. It really set the tone. And then you had just all this retro feel. Like, even the way it was filmed, retro feel. The wrestlers looked like they were from the 80s. You know, they had that retro feel to them. Matches were kept short. That's nice. They had segments, good promos. They had shit outside of the ring. They had all this stuff going on, but it had more than anything. And this is something that we have to say with all companies out there. You have to have your own identity. It's a big problem with AEW right now. It doesn't have an identity. You know, WWE pretty much took its identity and made it better. You know, so now AEW stuck with no identity. And this is how NWA is. It tried to go the indie path. It got rid of its identity, got rid of its character, because too many fucking smart mark dorks were saying, you can't take NWA seriously if they do this shit. This is too goofy and rinky-dink. I want serious professional wrestling. And what we got now is we got a boring show with no fucking hype and less than 20 people in the building. That's
right.
why.
And I think another problem, too, with it is, Billy Corgan is looking around. He's like, okay, what's going to be the path of least resistance? Oh, let me turn NWA into a fucking indie show to get their fans. That's the problem, is that, like, he's turned NWA into just some random indie show that is airing on X and has the NWA logo. Like, and again, like, we're not saying this to shit on NWA in any way, shape, or form. We want to help NWA, but what Billy Corgan has done is he's turned this into just a regular random indie show with no identity. And it's a shame. It really is. I really think that NWA needs to go back, like what my brother said, is go back to the roots. Go back to get that retro vibe, get that retro Dockin' Into the Fire intro, the retro camera view, like filters and things like that. The kind of like that hazy look that a lot of the shows had back then. Have like 1980s like promo, like give it like when I tune into NWA, I want it to be completely different than anything else. Give me a unique, fun 1980s wrestling experience in the modern day. That's what I want.
Where's the CRT filter? Come on, man. So step it the fuck up, man. It had its own identity. But, so definitely it has to go back to its roots. And also, it has to hire more larger-than-life personalities. Like, what really got me interested in Power when it first started off is the fact that they had a few ex-WWE names here and there, but they also had people that could work the mic and stand out. And I know he's a shit wrestler. Eddie Kingston is pretty decent on the mic. Having him there working the mic was good. Eli Drake, LA Knight, great character worker. Loved seeing him in NWA Power. And even you got to see these newer talents too, like Ricky Starks. That was the first place that I ever saw Ricky Starks, and look at him now. Now he's signed at NXT, getting a title shot. So it's really was a place where you got to see this merging of old and new talents. And I feel that they were really better at scouting talents back in the day, back when NWA Power was first going. Now it's just get whoever we can from whatever fucking indie. Mostly they're just taken from OVW. If OVW didn't exist, who knows how fucking shitty NWA would be right now.
Yeah, seriously. No, absolutely. And the other thing too is they got to get over this belief that if Jim Cornette doesn't like it, then it must be a bad product. Well, Jim Cornette's allowed to have his opinion. I completely disagree with Jim Cornette on a lot of his opinions, and I think Jim Cornette would disagree because he wants wrestling to be taken seriously and yes, it needs to be badass, but I do think that you should have some fun with your show. Like there's got to be it can't just be a one note show. You got to have some you got to mix it up from time to time, and so I think that NWA could benefit from doing some things like Southpaw Wrestling, not as goofy and over the top, but definitely doing some of that fun 1980s stuff.
Well, that way it has an identity, and that way it sticks out. What it had when Power first started, And it just seems like we're never going to get back to that. It seems like he's so stuck trying to be just another fucking indie. And that's where the problem starts, is that when you're just another indie, you don't stand out, you blend in, and you lose all your momentum, which he's done right now. He needs to hire more larger-than-life personalities. I want to see people that look like old-school wrestlers. Like, I like the fact that they had a guy like Tim Storm. We became Tim Storm fans from watching NWA. I like the fact that they have a guy like that. I'm sure they also had Trevor Murdoch, who looked like he had a fucking, 25-month-old baby in him. But at the same time, it's like, at least he looked like an old school wrestler. He fit the theme of the show, That's what I can't take away. Is Trevor Murdoch may have been like unbelievably cowboy obese, but at the same time he fit the theme of the show. That's what a lot of those wrestlers in NWA back in the 80s and 70s look like, But I think that I would love if they went back to getting guys like, I don't know, kind of like the Outrunners from AEW. They had that old school look, and just old school promo cutters, high energy. I miss the fucking roids and screaming, That's what I mean by larger than life. I want to see those 80s personalities back on TV. I know they're still out there. I know a lot of them are on the indies, and they're getting shelved for some fucking cruiserweight flip midget doing dives to the outside. And that's the fucking problem. There needs to be a company where people that look like that and sound like that and that are throwbacks to a better time are showcased.
For Billy Corgan, and I completely agree with what you said, but for Billy Corgan, he needs to come at this from the mindset of not just trying to entertain wrestling fans, but creating a unique experience for wrestling fans that only NWA can provide. You can't get this experience at AEW or WWE or NXT or TNA or MLW. You can't get it anywhere else but NWA. And so when I'm looking at that, I'm thinking, okay, well, if you go with the retro vibe and you get that retro experience for a lot of fans, I think that could be appealing. I would go check out an NWA show. I would even drive all the way up to LA to go see an NWA show if it had that retro vibe, that retro experience, those high energy promos. Yeah, some levity, some of the the 1980s Southpaw comedy segments here and there, not the entire show, but here and there. You had some hot chicks on the show doing some 1980s shit. Who I think would do really well in this promotion? Harley Cameron.
Oh yeah, no, Harley would do great because she's a larger than life personality, and if Tony Storm weren't in high demand, she'd be perfect for NWA. They need those campy old school characters. That's what we're talking about. That just jump right out when everybody else is doing the same tired old bullshit. I want those larger than life characters that every other company shits on getting a fucking shot in NWA. That should be the company that they're doing shit in. And on top of that, they need more storylines and segments. When we watch NWA Power, this is a company that has progressively gotten worse every time we watched it and actually cut out more storylines and more segments over time. Literally the only segment we got in that entire little show, Power on X, the only segment we got was them pawning their merchandise. That's it. It had the retro feel and throwback look. That was it. That was the only identity or previous identity of NWA Power that they had on the whole entire fucking show. Other than that, it was just Indie wrestling in an NWA labeled ring, and that's it.
Well, and I think you brought up a really good point with the larger-than-life wrestlers, and I really want to just touch on that a little bit more.
Sure. Absolutely.
That does not have a... no, go ahead. No,
I'm sorry. You had to bleep out for a second. Go for it.
Okay, yeah, okay. So, so, like, I think what Billy Corgan should be looking at is, like, even if you got a wrestler on your roster that does not have a larger-than-life gimmick, look at Tony Storm. Perfect example. Did not have a larger-than-life gimmick 2 years ago. Timeless Tony Storm, that is an imitatable, cartoonish, larger-than-life type get, and I think that's what he's got to go to with his wrestling and say, okay, what larger-than-life, cartoonish gimmick can we give you to really make you unique on the show?
Well, that's something that people have completely steered away from. And let me just say this much. Nobody does it like Vince. When it comes to a booker coming up with original characters that play to the strengths of every single wrestler under his contract, I have to say nobody does it like Vince McMahon. I've seen Bischoff and Paul Heyman try to do original characters. It's dog shit. It's dog shit. And we all know Tony Khan and Triple H don't know how to create original characters if a fucking fridge fell on them. They don't know how to do either of that shit. So we really have to go, I hate to say it, Vince is the only guy out there that can do that. I would love it if Billy could get a guy with a creative mind, like we've floated Scott Levy before, get a guy with the creative mind, wrestling experience, who can come up with characters for this bland-ass roster, so that it's not just smiling guy in underwear that does drop kicks. We need more than that. We need to know what this guy is about. Where does he come from? What is he about? What is he into? And that's what people like Russo and McMahon did back in the day. They would take somebody in their hobbies, whatever they were into, like let's say, oh, you really like motorcycles? Let's make him a biker. It's right there. Undertaker, boom. They were looking what to do for him besides the whole Undertaker shit. He's into biker shit. Make him a biker. It's as simple as that.
Hey, NC, real quick, how do I sound? Do I sound okay?
Yeah, you sound fine. Yeah, everything's good.
Okay, so I just literally lost my internet connection for a little bit, but yeah, no, I
shit.
completely agree. So I think that they definitely need to be focusing more, like, and even back in the day, one of the critiques that I would have is that they were like, there weren't enough like larger than life cartoon gimmicked up wrestlers, and I think that's what they need to do going forward. Is they need to have a gimmicked up roster, not this fucking regular indie wrestling roster, yeah.
Oh, no. I said no shit. I was agreeing with you.
Oh, okay. No, I thought my connection was going out there. But no, they need to have a larger-than-life, cartoonish, gimmicked-up roster. Give me that 1980s experience. Like, don't give me this fucking regular fucking indie show with the NWA logo on it every Tuesday night. No, give me a unique fucking experience. And
okay, JC, okay, are you okay? Your connection.
Yeah, my internet is cutting out like crazy, so I'm gonna have to work some shit out. But yeah, no, they need to really figure out what their identity is and go from there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's what we've always said is for sure they need to figure out their identity. I would love it if they took a guy, I hate to say it, like Warhorse. I know a lot of people remember him from being a skinny fuck over in AEW. He's put on a lot of muscle, like 30 pounds of muscle since then. I think a guy like him would be perfect for NWA. You need people with these characters, especially if you don't have the ability to do any type of character shit. You need people that can do the characters. I'm surprised he hasn't reached out to Danhausen. I can't stand the little fucker, but at the same time, he's got a character that would fit right in with NWA. Even a guy like Enzo Amore. How the fuck has Enzo Amore not had a fucking stint in NWA yet?
I know. Like, hey, NC, do I sound fine? Do I sound okay?
You sound great, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, why haven't they signed Enzo? Why haven't they signed Matt Riddle? Like, why aren't they going out and getting these larger-than-life gimmicks? Like, and people say, oh, what about Maxie Impaler? Maxie Impaler has no personality. Go with people that have personality. Maxie Impaler has the personality of a loaf of bread.
I don't want a fucking pronoun warrior. That's another reason why, is because Billy, like all these fucking indie promoters, sees that all these psycho fans, all that's left, are all super liberal, so he's like, well, I guess they gotta have their he, she, him, them character, and here it is, Max the Impaler will have her beat dudes. And that's exactly what fucking happened, is we had this fat chick with contacts who looks like a fucking goth pig beating up 230-pound guys.
I know.
Fuck Billy for that shit.
Well, Billy is just lost right now. I mean, to me, what it looks like is he's just completely lost and has no idea what to do with NWA. Go back to your fucking roots, but this time actually focus on larger than life personas. Actually do that. Don't just give me, because even back then he was giving you just like regular indie wrestling matches on NWA. No, give me a 1980s gimmicked up experience that I can't get anywhere else.
Absolutely. We need more retro style production, more retro style presentation, more retro style wrestlers. But another thing that I remember from the retro days, beautiful women. But not just beautiful women, but valets, managers. What the fuck happened? Why isn't the NWA? Why don't they have a version of Missy Hyatt? Why don't they have a version of Sunny? You telling me there's not women out there that exist that can't work a mic? I know they are. I know they exist. One of them is doing fucking rip-off OnlyFans right now, Lacey Evans. And you can't get her. So it's like, and she would be amazing in NWA too, by the way. But it's just like, but we need women that have that appeal, that pop. Who cares if they're fucking hot and blonde? Like, Billy has to step past that bullshit of the smarks hating hot blondes and be like, yo, if they're hot blondes or hot brunettes, hot whatever, bring them the fuck in. If they work the mic, even better. But they need more valets, more managers, just more eye candy on the show. Literally, when we watched it, it was all a bunch of fat soy dudes. And then you had VHS, who was the one stud, but everybody else and his partners, but everybody else is a fat soy dude. It's like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, that's the thing too. Is like he really needs to focus on just giving us like Miss Elizabeth immediately comes to mind. Even though she wasn't great on the mic by any means, she played a role. As Macho Man's arm piece. Like she played a role, and I think that's what they need to get back to doing. And like I don't know what Billy Corgan was thinking doing, taking NWA where he's taken it. Like to me, like again, I'm not in the guy's head. I don't know the guy personally. I never met the guy. I'm a fan of his music, but I never met the guy. But like to me, it just comes across like he's just completely lost and has no idea where to take NWA. Well, as fans of Billy Corgan and supporters of NWA, people who really want to see NWA thrive, look, we want to help.
We're here to help. Nothing
Absolutely.
more. Like, please don't look at us like as some negative fucking assholes that just want to shit on you and clown on you. We legitimately loved NWA Power, and we were already saying when it first started, we're like, this may be the best show on right now. And to see our favorite wrestling show go to shit so quickly, man, it's very disheartening. So, a lot of this comes out of passion of us being former NWA Power fans and seeing it devolve to what it is now. So yeah, don't take it to heart. What we're saying is it's evil, it's negative. No, we're here to help. It's a little coarse, but hopefully it will help you change your heart in a lot of the ways that you're putting shit, because as it is right now, too much is wrong, man. I mean, and another big thing that we noticed on the last Power, so many matches. Why is there a need for so many fucking matches? I don't want to hear the nerd rhetoric. It's a wrestling show. You have to have wrestling matches. Well, another part of NWA back in the day, because I know these fat nerds didn't watch it. I did back in the day, was fucking promo segments. You got to see these wrestlers cut awesome shoot interviews in the back, out in front of the fucking NWA banner, out in the ring, out in the fucking parking garage. You got to see good segments between these wrestlers beating the shit out of each other and backstage beatdowns. You got to see cool shit. You got to see hot chicks talking about wrestling. You don't see any of that now. Nothing. Now it's just literally all out of shape dudes fighting for an hour. I don't want to see that.
That's literally what it is. You tune into an episode of NWA, 90% of the show is just a random long match that no one cares about.
With no characters. Nobody has a character. It's all random indie dude versus random indie dude.
Well, it's like even when he brought in Violent J to back up that clown stable, like there was no meaning to anything. Like there was no story to anything that was going on. It was just, here it is, random match. Like it. If you like it, great. You don't, fuck you. So like that's the problem with what Billy's doing here, is he's got to really focus on giving us those characters, giving us those stories, giving us that unique retro experience that we can't get anywhere else. He can do that. Billy Corgan is a smart guy. If he really cared and he really tried, I think he could do this.
Oh, I think so too. And we agree with JB here. We really feel that question mark was the downfall of NWA because it started going in more of a sillier, goofier territory. And at least at the time, you could take some of that silly, goofy shit seriously because, you know, it had its own identity. But when it started going to question mark, that's when it was going too far. It went full on indie shortly thereafter. That and never recovered, man. It really it's a terrible thing. They do have They do have a marketable champion right now in Bram. I will say Bram looks like a wrestler. He could use some promo classes, but I think you look at a guy like Bram, he looks like he can kick some ass. So I'll give him that.
I feel like what Billy Corgan also needs to do a lot less of. Really, do not cater to the fucking SJW marks, because that's what fucked NWA big time. It fucked him with Cornette. It fucked him with God, what was the other controversy that with Logano?
Dave Lasagna. Yeah, Dave Lasagna.
Yes. Yeah, it fucked him with that. And there was one recent one, too, that really hurt them.
Is it something about Billy underpaying the wrestlers or not paying them and having to cut down on costs and shit?
There's that one. Oh, Empower. Empower. The whole
Empower.
The whole Empower thing. Him catering to these fucking SGW marks because he thinks, well, that's what the majority of the wrestling fan base is. Yeah, but Billy, they're not going to support you. They have other options. They're not gonna hone in on NWA. What's unique about NWA?
Can't forget about this one. This is the one that got them kicked off of CW.
Yes.
When he decided to have this shit over at Sam Hain, dude. CW caught wind of it. They're like, fuck this. So that wasn't too smart. And it's the thing, too, is like it was all implied back in the day. You never saw him doing coke lines on NWA. You saw people coked out of their fucking head, but you didn't see it. You don't need to see it. It's not badass or edgy. Just show them all fucking coked up. That's what we need to see. Not doing the coke. That doesn't matter. But
yeah,
I'm sorry. Go for it.
Well, it's just from a creative standpoint. It's like, what is the foundation of your company? What is the creative foundation? Is the creative foundation just give the fans what they want? Well, that's not a foundation. That's not really an identity because like technically every wrestling company is giving the fans what they want. What makes NWA unique? Who are they for?
Right. No, exactly. And even with NWA Empower, excuse me. They should have learned from Evolution and what a flop it was. That if they can't do it on the big stage, what the fuck makes you think you can do this on an indie stage? And especially Mickie James saying, "Oh, we need an Empower too." The first one was a flop. It was a bigger flop than Evolution, and you want a second one? But Billy's probably fucking dumb enough to do it this year, knowing him, because he has to check all the DEI boxes, you know? So he's probably going to fucking try to do that shit, but I don't want him to, man. This is a time when they need to hire more attractive women. Go reverse. Yes. You know, I like, don't get me wrong, I like the fact that they have Natalia Markova. She deserves a push, by the way. I like what they're doing with the twins, you know, the tag team. God, what is their name? The two sisters.
Oh, yeah, the Neves and, fuck.
No, Tiffany Neves, she's not bad. She's actually a pretty good wrestler.
No. I know what you're talking about. The Page sisters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Kenzie and the other one, but
Kylie or something like that. Yeah,
Kenzie and Kylie. Yeah. It's like there's some good, at least in the women's division. They need to hire more charismatic hot chicks. That's something that they really need to do going forward, especially with all the talent that has been fired from WWE. It really shocks me that a lot of these talents that get fired from AEW and WWE, they sit around on the indies for like almost 2 years not doing anything. You know, it's like somebody like Isla Dawn. It doesn't hurt to scoop her up and do something with her. At least she's eye candy. She's got a gimmick. She's a witch. It's already set. Sure. You don't even have to do anything. It's like it's right there.
Well, and it doesn't have to be a comedy character, but you could gimmick it up a bit. You could make it a little cartoonish.
Yeah, have her in lingerie stirring a cauldron with another hot chick. It's right there.
There you go.
Yeah. It's right there.
Call them like, what would you call them? Like the fucking the Coven or something like that.
The Coven, yeah. Exactly. Boom, right there. Yeah, exactly. So it's the potential is there, man. The potential is there. They also need to hire more badasses. I want to see more guys that look like they do prison time. I wouldn't mind if they hired a guy like Nick Gage. I know a lot of people would like snub their nose at him. At least Nick Gage looks like he could actually beat somebody's ass. I would try to hire more guys that look like legitimate badasses that can't get a job anywhere else, so they went to wrestling. That's the type of people that they should be trying to get. That's what I remember with NWA. I just remember outlaws. I don't remember guys that actually look like they were roided up or comedy characters. Just remember badass outlaws. They need more outlaws in NWA, you know? So more so, not like John Moxley, that's too far-fetched, but, you know, like somebody kind of like a Nick Gage, I guess. I don't know. What do you think, JC?
I mean, depending on the gimmick you give him, like, I don't know. I'm just joking around with what I'm about to say, but, you know, like, give him like a crazy janitor gimmick. He loses his mind and he beats up people with like mops and brooms. I don't know. You have fun with it. Yeah, have fun with it. But yeah, no, I definitely think that there is, you know, some. You do need to have some tough guys on your roster, you know, some like, you know, intimidating, I think is the word, you know, I'm looking for, is you need to have some intimidating wrestlers on your roster. A lot of them look like regular dudes, you know.
Right, and well, and they don't get me wrong. There are a few talents right now. They did sign Dabakoto, so that is a very good signing for NWA, and I would really hope that they use him correctly and do something right with him. But the talent is out there, especially like we said with WWE releasing all these talents over the years. The talent is out there to build a pretty fucking strong indie, especially if they're willing to go along with whatever your monetary standards are. So it's right there, man. It's right there. I think that they also really need a dedicated venue. I think all this touring and going all over the place has hurt them. One thing that always really helped, like let's say for example NXT back in the day, was having the Full Sail University, and even Impact, the Impact Zone. This really helps companies having a standard home, especially if they're a smaller company, having a standard home that people know that's the home of this company. And they need to, just find out wherever your home is, whether it's in Nashville, if you want to move to Vegas for a bigger outlet. You need to find your home and stay there for a little bit to really build up a cult-like following. Because right now, NWA has no identity, no cult-like following. Nobody cares about it. Nobody wants to go see it. It's just, it really trips me out. Especially, like a talent like Santana Garrett.
Yeah.
What is she doing? Like, why would you not hire a woman like that back? You know, it's right there.
You bring up with Santana Garrett. So right now, I believe she's wrestling for Women of Wrestling or Women Superstars, or whatever it's called. Get women from there. Like that company has a lot of gimmicked up women on that roster.
It's true. That's the one thing. We don't give Jeannie Buss enough credit for coming up with characters. Now, they're not all hits. I mean, there's a lot of misses, but at least this woman tries. She at least tries to give these characters, give these indie wrestlers gimmicks and characters, and all of them stand out. You won't find a single wrestler that's just, I'm a great wrestler. There's no female Johnny Garganos on WoW. Everybody has a character. Even Nikita Lyons back in the day. She had a character. She was the lioness. Everybody,
the hip hop artist,
exactly. Everybody has a character. You know, it's right there. And this is not necessarily a bad thing. I think this is actually one of the better things that NWA has done is offer their program free on X. This is actually a good thing. Any type of free market, whether it be X, Instagram, YouTube, you got to take advantage of that, especially with all the eyeballs out there. Make your product free, make it easy to get, easy to watch. So that's not necessarily a bad thing, but with how shitty everything is for it, it fucks it up, you know. So I also got to say they really need to have more jobbers getting beat down. That's one thing that I missed from back in the day, is like I would tune into a random NWA and I would see like Hawk and Animal just kicking the shit out of two random Hammond-Eggers, like throwing them out of the ring on their heads on the concrete. They had no padding on the outside. It was just concrete flooring. So throwing them out on the concrete. Bobby Eaton too. He like Midnight Express just fucking people up. That's one thing I used to really love back in the day, is just Hammond-Eggers getting the shit kicked out of them. No offense. They don't need no fucking offense. They're putting over the stars that are part of the company. Now you have these guys that come in for 20-minute matches, indie dream matches, and they give offense when nobody knows who the fuck they are. You see this over in NXT too. It's a big fucking problem right now. We need these jobbers, these newbies, to know their place. You earned your way into a company by getting the shit kicked out of you. It happened to everybody. Matt and Jeff Hardy. They were fucking jobbers before they ever became tag team champions. It's part of fucking working your way up the system. There is no shame in doing that. I would love to see more Hammond-Eggers getting the shit kicked out of them. They need it. It builds character, damn it.
No, it absolutely does. You know, they do need to have more, you know, they do need to put more of an emphasis on their tag team, you know, division as well, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's one of the things that NWA did, I guess, decently back in the day. But nowadays, though, we got to say they need more star power. There is no buzz right now. When you have EC3 as your world champion, before him, who do we have? We have fucking Tyrus. So Tyrus and EC3 are the biggest names that you can get in your company. That's a big fucking problem. What they need now more than ever, he doesn't have any ties. The monetary issue might be something because how big his name is. They need somebody who is an NWA legend like Ric Flair to come in, be a GM, or have an important role in the company. They need to have him as a speaking role on every single show. If people saw Ric Flair on this show, they might be able to be like, hey, maybe NWA has some life to it. And granted, Ric Flair can't do much more than talk on the mic. At least make use out of him. Make use out of his name power. If Lex Luger isn't too shrunken up, if he's actually been putting on some weight, put him out there too. I would say even Arn and Tully, if they're not signed to Legends contracts, see if you can work them in as agents, producers, something. You need those old school minds to get that old school flavor on TV. Not at the same time where it's like one of those things where they go with all the old school shit that didn't work. You go with all the old school shit that did work, and they know better than anybody else.
I mean, like with Arn Anderson, I wouldn't mind Arn Anderson as a GM role on NWA.
Yeah,
that could work. I mean, you could take him seriously. He could talk.
Yeah, I mean, any NWA legend that can still talk and can still go, they really need to invest in. And I know none of them can physically go in the ring, but I'm talking about booking wise. So I'm sorry, go for it.
Well, here's another one: Tully Blanchard.
So, yeah, no, I was saying that Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson.
Right,
yeah, no, for sure. Barry Windham is another one. There's God, what is it? Rotunda. Was it Mike Rotunda? There's a lot of legends that I'm sure if they talked to Triple H and said, hey, you mind if I work a couple dates over in NWA? He wouldn't mind. It's just, I would love to see something like that where they get the old heads back. Another one that I really want back is Jim Cornette at commentary. I don't care about him booking. I don't want him booking, but him at commentary really added to the flavor of the show because you really got that old school sense of commentary. You got his comedy in there. You got his timing. You got his just the history of wrestling. This guy is a walking wrestling encyclopedia. Like it just, you didn't have too many high level commentators and you got Jim Cornette and they fucked that shit up. You need to get somebody like him back. If you can't get Jim back, get somebody like Jim back.
No, I completely agree. And here's another name that we could throw in there. Whatever happened to Ted DiBiase?
My whole thing about Ted DiBiase is, just from just from a what is that, morality standpoint, I wouldn't hire him back. I mean, it's out there. I really feel like, just get what good names you can to work with you creatively or in a producer role, agent role, GM role. You don't obviously want to see Ric Flair wrestling in the ring. Nobody wants to fucking see that. But I would love to see Ric Flair have like a promo battle with some young up-and-coming kid. And then he picks out a wrestler of his own to face the young up-and-coming kid. I'd love to see something like that. Sting's another one. Sting, he's not doing anything. He's not under contract. He's another guy I'd love to see brought in. And they do something with him, especially since you're not doing anything with him right now. It's NWA has a lot of heritage, and even I hate to say it, wasn't my favorite NWA champion, but if Nick Aldis ever becomes available, that would be another one. Even Adam Pearce, I had to say both these guys are former NWA world champions. It's something.
Yeah,
Paul Ellerling, yes, thank you, free agent Paul Ellerling back as manager. Fuck if you want to bring AOP in that way, at least they're intimidating looking. You got to get him a gimmick though.
Yeah, for sure. No, I wouldn't mind that at all. Like Paul Ellering as their manager, give him like a 1980s, gimmick. Like, sure, I'm cool with that, 100%. But I really think that Billy Corgan needs to really commit to the retro 1980s identity and not making this some fucking random indie show.
Yes, absolutely. And just, you got to get the world title off of EC3. It's not doing anything for the company at all. EC3 has really dive-bombed the company. You weren't doing yourself any favors with Tyrus. And then you do EC3, and I think Bram's world champion now, but most people don't even look at him as the world champion. They still look at EC3 as the world champion. You need a good, dominant champion that's going to be there for a little bit, and it still befuddles me with all the top talent that they have out there. Look at how he fucking fumbled Elias. Elias was a free agent for years. for fucking years, and just until the end of, what was it, the beginning of this year, he got offers from AEW and TNA. Why wasn't NWA making Elias an offer all this fucking time? It's just, and even Baron Corbin, Tom Pesper, or Pesker, whatever the fuck he's calling himself now. This is another guy that I think he's going to sit on. He's not going to hire a guy like Baron Corbin, and Baron's going to get signed somewhere else. It's insane, the type of talent that he lets slip through his fingertips when they're right there. I know if you're cutting back, I can understand. This is something that I've heard about Billy, is that he's obviously cutting back right now. He's trying to look at how he can save money with the company. You need to spend your money wisely. You need to cut out talents that you don't fucking need, which is most of these OVW guys. Start getting your own identity. It doesn't help that you're fucking using OVW guys on your own fucking show. NWA is a bigger name than OVW, or at least was. You know, that doesn't help at all. But you also need to have identifiable characters to your show. Identifiable people, identifiable venues, identity, period. And there is none. Like, it's just territories and OVW dick sucking. That's all it is.
Well, and that's the problem. Is like it almost feels like Billy Corgan is just kind of like given up. He's like, fuck it. I'll just put random matches on. Who cares? Well, Billy, you're going to get what you get now, and that's a fucking dying company.
Yeah, well, that's what we wanted to, is NWA. There's no reason for it to be failing right now, especially when it had such a good start. And I know people would say, oh, well, look at all the talent that they lost. You can build a company on talent, but it takes identity more than anything for a company to thrive. That's the main thing, because talents are interchangeable. And as you've seen throughout the years, they've been able to keep some talents. Like Tim Storm's on commentary right now, so that's, I guess, a good transition for him. Mike Knox has been there for fucking forever. He's never going to leave that company. You need to bring in badass looking dudes. You need to bring in new faces. You need to start bringing in talent that's going to stand out. Characters. Like I said before, guys like Warhorse. He's got a metalhead gimmick. He stands out. Don't forget about the fucking indie hype. Forget about all these guys who can do perfect 450 splashes. That is not important anymore. And it's becoming ever more important to these fucking smart nerds after the wrestling industry has crashed. It's already been proven in WWE and AEW that this shit does not work out. The style of booking that you love to put on your shows that nobody watches does not work out. And it works out even less when you're a ripoff of a ripoff of a ripoff. Like, right. This is, it's unbelievable. This is NWA, a company that was once bigger than WWF. This is NWA, a company owned by Billy Corgan. You mentioned Billy Corgan. To most people, more people know who Billy Corgan is than Vince McMahon. How is this possible?
Honestly, and that's true. It's possible because Billy Corgan is just lost, and I think he's gotten a lot of bad advice from the wrestling veterans in the industry. Like, they would get in his ear and tell him, this is what you got to do if you want to succeed. They do it, and oh boy, they get where they are now, a fucking dying indie company. And again, like, I don't want to say this. I don't want to see NWA where it is now. I want to see NWA thriving, selling shitloads of tickets, merchandise, getting that big time TV deal. And to get that, you got to have an identity. You got to be unique amongst all the boring, bland wrestling companies that are out there. Look at what's over in AEW right now. Tony Storm, Harley Cameron, those two chicks, MJF. Megan Bain. What do they all have? They're all larger than life. All of them.
Yeah, especially with the women right now. I got to say that AEW is... You can fault them all they want for their shitty male talent, but when it comes to the women, they're actually doing something good and building some female stars. With NWA, you've had Natalia Markova for the longest time and have not elevated her. She's just stagnant and just sitting there. At least with the Page sisters, I can say that you somewhat elevated them and made them into something more. But it's like, even with people like Natalia Markova and the Page sisters, they're so larger than life in your tiny company that they look out of place. They look like they should be in AEW or WWE. And it's beknownst to me why they even waste their fucking time with your company. Maybe it's some draconian, long-ass MLW lockdown 5-year contract. I don't fucking know. I don't care. But all I know is that these women are wasting their time. And they would fit in right well if you were doing your company the right way. But no, these women, they deserve more at this point. You're just keeping them locked under key. Even Tiffany Neves is another one. I believe that she would have a stellar career over in Impact. Over in TNA, over in AEW. even WWE, it's like a lot of these women, they're lucky to even have them. What does NWA have besides these women? They have Thomas Latimer, who hasn't had heat in fucking 10 years, it seems like. Mm-hmm. They have they have Dabakoto, but they're using him as a jobber. They got some 7-foot jobber in a mask. They got retarded Brian Pillman guy. And that's it.
Well, just like ask yourself if the Page sisters left and Natalia Makova left, would you ever tune into NWA?
No, there's no reason.
Right.
Well, there's no fucking reason. It literally. Well, what they have done is they're trying to mix in a couple things. They're trying to do the old school look when it comes to some of these fat, out of shape, like who gives a fuck, no character, old fat fuck 50-year-old wrestlers. They have those in there, but then they try to offer the flippy indie work rate shit too, and that's where you have the clash of styles. Yeah. If you're gonna stick to old fat fucks, you need to just stick to old fat fucks and like intimidating guys. When you have that mix, you draw away all the fucking work rate nerds, and they'll just go to GCW, see their fucking shitty intergender matches. You're not. It's like Billy's not going to offer a better product with Max the Impaler beating up some fucking jobber for 20 minutes.
And honestly, for me, it drove me away. It was one of the things. It's like I as someone who hates SJW shit, who's an anti-SJW, I don't want to see Max the Impaler. Like when you have a character like that, you're going to divide what your audience, what's left of it. You're going to divide it from the anti-SJW. It's like, oh, let me check. Oh, that shit. Okay, fuck NWA now. Like, you don't want to divide your audience with woke crap like that. It's not even over.
Well, they had a young guy, Minx, I think his name was, whatever, 220 pounds, decent shape, decent height, could work on his promos, but he had a good look to him. And they had this guy just get his ass kicked by Max the Impaler, and he lost his title to her. Like, when I saw that, I'm like, dude, the fact that they are making this fat intergender pig into a dominating force on the roster, the female Goldberg, is enough for me to be like, fuck this fucking company and their fucking stupid ass.
Well, and, like for any wrestler that may be tuning into this and like, hey, I'm friends with Maxine Paler. She was very nice to me. Well, you got to understand, we're coming at it from a fan perspective, okay? From what we see on TV, that's what we are judging. And so what we're seeing on TV, Maxine Paler drives us away. What we're seeing on NWA TV, a lot of it just is not appealing to us. It's just a fucking random indie show. And again, we're coming at it from the perspective of we want to help as a fan. From the fan perspective. Yes, these longtime veterans may have some good advice to give in the ring. 100%. No doubt about that. But what I think also should matter is the fan perspective. Like, it's like, yes, it's like Coca-Cola. I'm sure that their executives that have been there for decades have a lot of experience selling Coca-Cola. However, they still want the customer perspective as well, because that also fucking matters. In fact, it matters way fucking more. Because that's the people you're trying to get to buy your fucking product.
Exactly, and it doesn't help when you got guys like Rolando Freeman. It's like... Yeah. It's like when you got motherfuckers that look like Cheeseburger in your company, you're not going to be getting any sort of fucking hype. People are going to tune out. They're going to turn the channel. They're never going to come back to your company ever again. That's why you see dwindling views for every NWA power. Its average on a weekly basis is anywhere from 10K to 15K.
Yeah.
Of what? That's sad. This is Billy Corgan's cup. This is NWA, 10 pounds of gold NWA. What the fuck?
Well, and like what we keep saying over and over, we don't want to shit on NWA. We really don't. I want to support them. I want to see them succeed. But when you're doing shit like this, you're not gonna.
It's a shit character, Junior. It's a garbage character. Just admit it. Just fucking admit it. I'm sorry. What is her character? Wear fucking animal furs and red contacts? Is that what type of fucking character is that?
Well, for us, it's a big part of like what's driving us away. So I think different people are going to react differently to Maxine Paler. My main problem with her character is that there's no personality to it. It's just great. That doesn't take talent.
Nope. It's just literally just a fat furry growling in the mic. Awesome, right?
Yeah.
Empowering.
I mean, honestly, like, take any fucking random fat bitch that you know in your personal life, dress them up like Maxine Paler. They could do the same fucking thing. Teach them how to wrestle for like like a year, and they could probably be as good as Maxine Paler. I am not impressed by Maxine Paler, even as a wrestler. But again, this is my opinion as a fan. Again, I'm not a veteran wrestler with 30 years experience, and how dare a fan have an opinion? No, fans are allowed to have an opinion. I'm a potential customer. I'm telling NWA what they could do to get my dollar. If they want to tell me to fuck off and continue listening to the fucking overhyped veterans, be my guest. But then don't be surprised when NWA keeps dying on the vine.
Especially when you're ripping off Ember Moon. It's like she already did that shit in NXT. It looked like shit, and you make it look even fucking worse, And another thing we forgot to bring up. He uses Matt Cardona so much. Matt Cardona is the king of jobber bullshit. When we first started watching, NWA on CW, he was on the first episode. And this goofy fucker had a hardcore Lego match, or an action figure match, with EC3, and they had to black and white out the screen, and they were slamming each other on Legos and action figures. This is how you make people tune out of your company. And that venue, I'll never forget that venue too. It was at a bar that somehow, like this bar, was smaller than the venue I recently watched on X, but had even less people in it. So it was smaller and had less people, like literally 4 or 5 people in the front row, and that's it. And here's Matt Cardona and EC3 bleeding over Legos. Awful.
Again, like it just goes back to like, who the fuck is this show for? Who is NWA geared towards? That's the problem here. Like, and I got to keep saying it because like there's so many fucking hypersensitive pussies in the wrestling business now. We are not trying to shit on NWA. We are trying to help.
Oh, you're gonna love the Undertaker quote I got for you later in the news. I can't wait. So, Sir Crazy Pretzel was saying impression. Father James Mitchell tells Billy Corgan to raise Dusty Rhodes and Terry Funk and make Ric Flair young again through magic. It happens and Billy says they will job to EC3. They all mock Corgan. Okay. You want to be Billy or you want to be Father James?
Can you do a father, like how's your Father James? Is that,
I've never tried it before, so I'd have to give it a try. it's whatever.
I'll be Father James. I think I can do this.
Okay. All right. Well, hey there, Father James. I need a little advice on how to save my company. We recently did a show with the swap meet and nobody showed up. What do I do?
Ha! Well, I'll tell you what you could do. Here's what you do. You take Dusty Rhodes and Terry Funk, you raise them from the dead, and you put them in your company. That will revive your ratings, because people love Dusty Rhodes and Terry Funk.
Wow, so you can really do that?
Of course, I'm Father James Mitchell. I've got demonic powers. But all I'll need is your soul.
Oh, I already sold that to Hollywood back in the 90s. But you know what? Hey, I got another suggestion. How about we take Ric Flair and make him young again, and we can make him our world champion with the 10 pounds of gold? Oh my God.
That's a really good idea. Oh, by the way, you got any Coke?
Oh, shit, I got a mountain behind me. Go for it.
Oh, shit, thank you.
Whew. All right, I can't wait. One day later. All right. Wait, did you do the ritual? Did you resurrect them from the dead?
Of course I did. There's just one thing Ric Flair wants. He wants to job out EC3.
Oh, well, you know what? I don't know. EC3's kind of my golden goose. He's such a talented man. He's got veins coming out of his eyeballs. He's so amazing. I love him.
But you gotta do it. That's their demands, or they'll go back to being dead.
Whoa, I got the man! Listen here, little man, little bald man. You want me to come back? Then you gotta make Thor that jobbed out juice head that he loses to me. Woo! Well, I don't know about that. I mean, look at AC3. He looks all jacked up, and you're Ric Flair. One of the best wrestlers of all time. But well, listen here. I think that you need to get your ass kicked for bringing me back from the dead. I'll tell you what, baby. I think we need to beat the fuck out of this motherfucker. We gotta kick his ass for Damon to think that he can put us under control. Well, come on, guys, come on! Ah! Did you get the number of that milk truck? So Darren Alexander said, impression, Goth Pig versus Isla in a bikini wrestling match. I remember my grande brew in NWA, and Billy Corgan had set me up against a Goth Pig. Well, let's see what you got, Goth Pig. Bring me your best. Todd Panther. Todd Panther. You hurt my... you hurt my mouth. You hurt my back. You hurt my boobs. You pooped on me. 1, 2, 3. Ding, 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 ding. You're a winner of the match, Goth Pig.
And the crowd died.
Everybody left. Joey said, we need an NWA diss promotion in the vein of Ice Cube's NWA diss track, No Vaseline. We can call the promotion either No Audience or No TV. It's very believable. I mean, especially nowadays, dude, it's like, it's very believable. All we need is another pandemic to make this shit happen, and I believe you'll see it.
We can do it. It can happen. It can absolutely happen.
Absolutely. So Joey was saying, I was on their power stream and said their show was a terrible, and that Polo Del Mar was offended and said I wasn't a real wrestling fan. This is the problem, man, is that they can't take criticism. And especially the people that a lot of these bookers surround themselves with. They're all a bunch of fucking snowflakes. It's like, we're trying to help the company. Every one of us, I think, wants to see NWA be entertaining. We're not asking for much. We gave you a very detailed list of what to do. It's up to you, Billy, to actually take into account what we said and save your company. So here's to hoping that you actually do it, but knowing Billy's gonna fucking probably give a fuck less about NWA, give it to somebody even markier and shitty of a booker, and just drive it into the fucking ground. So, away it goes.
I know.
All right, guys. NC.
JC end.
Peace out.